Okay, here we go. This is the last and final wing of the Maraudon dungeon. This is the first boss. It's a landslide. He is just basically a big elemental. What you do want to do here is not what I did. I did not have my back to that wall. You want to spin him around and put your back on that wall over there, because he's going to do a knockback and he's going to knock you all the way across the room, like he just did to me. Put me right on top of my healer. The reason this is bad is because he's going to do this AoE stun, which stuns everyone in your party, and then he's going to summon these little elementals. Basically, they'll aggro to just, I don't know if it's random or whoever has the thread on them, but as you can see, if you're over here by your group, then one of them's going to get away and they could aggro to someone other than you, whereas if your back's to the wall, they'll normally aggro to either you or a melee, and they're easier to pick up that way. So right here, I'm trying to correct my mistake by not having my back to the wall. So I'm trying to do it, trying to pull him back and get my back to the wall. And right here, he's going to actually do the knockback again. But now my back is to the wall. And as you can see, this time, all the little elementals he summons come running straight to me. So then all you have to do is, right after that stun, you just throw it in a thunderclap and you'll pick them all up. Continue to just tank the boss, because as soon as he does that stun again, it kills all the elementals that are out there. So there's no real need to have your DPS them at all. I think that we actually were able to take them down just from AoE from this other warrior and myself. This boss is a pretty interesting boss for a tank, as there's a lot of things you need to do, a lot of different fight mechanics, which make it a lot more interesting than some of the other boss fights. But it's a pretty fun dungeon, so that's all for the first boss. Now this is the princess. She's actually considered the main boss in this dungeon. There's one more boss that I'll cover after her, but if you don't tell the people to stay after this run, then most of them will leave right after this boss, and you won't get a chance to do that third boss. So you want to make sure you just throw it up in party chat, tell people to stay. But as you can see right there, yeah, she casts fear on me and does that AoE knockback. That AoE knockback, if you're running with a lot of melee DPS, it's not going to cause you that many problems, because they are not going to put out any damage, and you're also not putting out threat. But if you're running around with some ranged, a group of 3 ranged, you may have a problem, because right here you're not putting out any threat at all, and they are all able to continue to DPS without slowing down at all. So as you can see, when you get feared, there's really nothing you can do. I could break those fears with every man for himself, but I think I saved it then, and you end up using it on this last one. Basically, the way I was trying to get as much threat as possible was during this knockback phase, I would try to save charge so that I could charge and actually get another shield slam while this was going on. And that normally would help me keep threat over these guys. Right here, though, this is all that's left. I think she cast fear on me again, but I just used the trinket ability to break it and get back to tanking. This is one of the first bosses who ever actually I've had problems holding threat on, and it's because of that AoE knockback. So that's an interesting boss. This is that third boss I was telling you. Basically, you walk back across the bridge, looking down in the water. You'll see the big alligator. I think it's Rot Grip is his name. Basically, you just want to find him. He's just a tank and spank boss. No big deal. The hardest part about killing him is actually making sure that the people stay in your group after after you kill the princess, so that you can get this kill. Overall, this dungeon is pretty. It's a pretty good dungeon. I think even the other 2 wings of it are both very good, interesting fights to do, and this has a couple of interesting fights too. It's a really nice dungeon. I would suggest definitely trying to do all 3 of the wings instead of questing, but it's not that bad to tank, and it's actually pretty interesting. So Definitely worth checking out.